Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh my goodness. May I just notice, everyone, how beautiful you are with your beautiful
Oh
earrings and your shirt that fits in red.
Thank you,
Couldn't
dear
be more
one.
perfect for this beautiful day.
Thank you, my dear one. You're glowing in me. I really love your glow as well. Thank you for sharing that. I think we're also glowing in spirit. We were just saying how much we love our prayers before starting. What a blessed moment we have every time. And we're sure that this impacts all that are listening and seeing us.
Always. Because we go back to the true essence of what we're doing, right?
Yes.
Love it. So today, guys, I forgot which episode.
To be honest, it's that episode. It's the good one. I
Good.
do not have the number in
All
my.
the other episodes you can throw it in the garbage, guys. This is it, right?
It's a brand new episode. That is true.
So today, guys, we are following up a bit with our previous episode where we talked about the divine love, right? The importance of embodying the divine love and what it actually represented for us. And it came upon us the necessity or the need to actually share now how to put the practice into practice, right? So, how do we actually practically express love towards one another,
Hmm.
right? Towards our peers, our family, our friends, towards strangers, and how do we receive and embody love for ourselves on an everyday basis? So there's a lot of things to uncover here, but we'll go with the flow and
Yeah.
we'll see how that's going to keep going and lead for, right? So I welcome you, Runa, to start off with whatever comes up to you.
Oh my God, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful intro. So yeah, we didn't remember the number of the episode, but we know exactly what we talked about and where we're going with this one, and then we'll let the flow lead us. How to embody love. Oh my God, this is such a passionate topic I'm going to make an effort to synthesize and then bring it back home. Well, let's start somewhere. I start in presence and in the flow, in getting in the flow of the embodiment. So as I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is thank my life, thank that I'm alive, thank that I breathe, and then I get into a receptive mode. So I kind of like, lift my hands up to the sky to thank. And then as I thank my life, the new day, as I sense the energy of the new day, because every day has a different energy, a different flow, I thank for receiving life, force, and divine love, which is always there, always accessible, but not always embodied, right? So I practice, which means it's not a perfection, but who cares because I'm not into perfection. I practice the reception of this love. And then I love to ask, how may I be this vessel of love, and how may I serve today? In what ways? And sometimes I don't focus on in what ways. Sometimes I just say, thank you for making me a vessel. And I activate in presence and the most love that I can feel, so that when somebody calls me, texts me, I encounter a stranger in the metro, all sorts of things. I'm like, no day is is boring in my life, thank God. Then I act with what is requested of me in the moment. Sometimes it might be listening actively. Often it is starts like that with the basic, just listening. Sometimes it's I get a message for the person. Sometimes it's a more sweet do message, right? And sometimes it's cut the bullshit, stop turning round and round, take off your mask if you want to, and be real, because you're the person sometimes is lost because is wearing, masks or whatever, telling them stories of illusions. So I think I named quite a lot, but and I'm going to stop here for now because I really, really, really want to hear you. Not that I don't want to be generous in my sharing, but tell me,
I
how
love
is it for you, the embodiment and the
I
sharing of
love
the
this so much. I love how it like complements with my own experiences and how I do embrace it. I think it's as you grow and evolve and heal, I feel like it becomes a state of being, right? And I think that ultimately every time we have this desire to keep embodying more and more and more love, but love is always perfect and always present, like you said, right? It's just a question of, are you expanding to that vibration or are you the expanding, which is normal, right? It's okay, guys. We're going to serve through different types of dimensions of your being, right? So for me, it's a state of being. The more and more we grow. So by state of being, when I wake up, it's just for me, gratitude has been a bridge a lot for expressing and receiving and embodying love. The simple gratitude. And then when we say gratitude, we cannot just mentalize it. We have to learn to bring the mental towards our heart, right? Heart is everything. We mentioned it a lot in our episodes, and it's all from within, right? So once you start embodying and actually feeling, right? Feeling in your being
Mm,
this deep sense of gratitude and also awness of what is and what exists, and put yourself in another perspective. So instead of looking into, I am experiencing life as a not a victim, but as a actor in this life, right? Let us become the observer, right? So the observer becomes more in a greater scope and allows you to see how we play a perfect role into this beautiful, harmonious universe, but also how everything is amazing and extraordinary. You know, when we wake
mm,
up, we're alive. When we wake up, we have 5 fingers, each hand. It's weird, no? We have 2 eyes, and nose, and mouth. Like when you look at it with new eyes, that's the honest. It brings you the amazingness of how magical this world is. Everything for us becomes now boring. And oh yeah, I know I'm a body. Oh yeah, it's already been described by science. Whatever should happen in this world, we already, took out the mystery of everything. But when you really look into each things, the mystery is still there. So for me, gratitude, honest, the state of being, and presence is absolutely something we're going to dive deeper with again. I think for the everyday lifestyle, it's just going back to the simplicity of your life and your moment. For a moment
mm,
in the morning, whenever it fits for you when you wake up in your routine, take this moment, and that's what we call the meditative state. It's not actually just sitting in the Indian style and just pray and close your eyes and meditate. It's really a moment for contemplating
mm,
life as is, right? So that is a level of present moment. And when I remember when Eckhart Tolle often says, what is just the present moment. The future and the past are illusions. The only
mm.
thing that is of now is the now, the power of now.
Yeah,
And when you focus to contemplate the now, doesn't have to take 2 hours, guys. Sometimes it takes me 1 hour, not to go back to this present, but just I'm enjoying the process and I'm enjoying my meditative
yeah,
state
yeah.
and I'm getting downloads, right? But that's for each your own. But once you take this moment to look and embody the present of now and the honest and the gratitude mixed together, for me, love emerges.
Mm,
Divine, simple love emerges. And then it covers me and it showers me and it's like a blanket that like just embodied. And then I
mm,
become this love. I smile naturally. Like you said, I want to, you know, be of this love representation for others. I forgave faster. I'm much more patient when I walk in the street and something
I
happens.
love that.
I see life loving through a loving veil. And sometimes I like to say with God, like, thank you for giving me your eyes. Because sometimes I really, not all the time, but sometimes I experience seeing the world through his eyes and seeing the potentiality, the positive, the the forgiveness, and it's beautiful, really. So yeah.
That is so beautiful and inspiring. I love to hear you. I knew we had similar processes in the morning that come very natural, but I love, love, love to hear how you express it and how it is for you. And I hear forgiveness and patience into act, like these are acts of love, right?
Mhm.
To love in action is to forgive. To love in action is to be patient. That doesn't mean when we're not patient. I remember when I used to not allow myself love or give myself grace because I would lack patience because I knew that it wasn't loving. And then I discovered that the quicker and the deeper I give myself grace, which is to forgive my own impatience,
Mhm.
the quicker and deeper I live in love more. So this
Mhm.
is not to say that you're always patient. I mean, let me speak about myself because I don't want. I'm not always patient. I don't always forgive quickly, but thank God that more and more I am more patient than impatient. I forgive quicker and deeper, much faster and easier
Yeah.
than before.
Yeah.
Because after all, deepening love is a process. So if I wouldn't be impatient, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have the opportunity to prove, let's say, to practice unconditional love, because I would be like, oh well, you suck, and no, I won't forgive you, and that's it, right? Myself or others. So giving grace, I think that giving grace, it can include forgiveness and love, or maybe forgiving and loving in the same time is to give grace. I'm not sure really, but it's a particular act, the act, action de grâce actually. I love how it sounds in French, because in English we don't say that, grace action, but
Of grace.
action de thanks, we say thanksgiving, but I love it more in French because it specifies grace, an action of grace. An action of grace is sometimes I have a lens, let's say I have a lens of I judge someone, and then immediately my heart is like nudging me to change my lens into love and see them differently. And then or I have the presence to be like, God, please grace me with another lens, because I'm not like I'm just like, I don't like this, like I don't like this aspect of the person right now. So I just ask for, give me grace, give me eyes of grace, and or show me. Another prayer that I say is, show me how you see this child of yours. If I get into seeing people like God's children, I mean, I just,
Right.
I don't know if I'm just, and usually I start crying of so much miséricorde, charity, or like love. Like it just, I can literally be, now I have a, eyes of separation and of judgment, and 5 seconds after, if I got the grace to pray for it, I'm like, oh my God, this is an amazing child of God. And it's like, it's, oh, they're doing this annoying behavior because they don't feel enough love and they want to seek for attention. Oh, that's why. It's not that they're annoying and I don't like them. It's, this is acts of love, and it's a choice. It is a
Mhm.
conscious choice in every single moment,
Yeah.
as much as sometimes I fail. Ah, oops, and so I pick it up at night, when I do I kind of do a,
Yeah.
how was the day? And then I'm like, ooh, oh, that, yeah, I could have received some grace and given and then I give it, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna pray for it now. I missed it then, but now I can pray, and I can see them with
And
love.
I want to pick up on that because you're right that this feel goodness of like a loving person should be da 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 da. And there, like you said, we're gonna, I think, touch base later on of how to more particularly express love towards other people's journey and personalities, right? And it's like if I don't want us to put out there that being and embody the divine love or being loving is labeled, right? Because you mention it and consciously you say, oh, you're being patient, you're being forgiving, you're having compassion, you're loving, you're being agreeable almost. And people associate giving love and embodying love as being da 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 da, like a
Mm,
list of things that defines you being
mm,
loved. And I
yes,
wanted to really push and press on the fact that you, like you said it, it's never going to be perfect, right? It's a process. And just like authenticity, because I have my post-it about authenticity in front of me when we talked about it,
yeah,
and we said it was a journey of uncovering layers to the core truth. And the same title and the same example, embodying divine love is a process of willingness to return to our expansion. That's all. It's simply giving ourselves the grace and the love towards ourselves and others while we're doing it. It's a process. We're
yeah,
not expected to be goody people all the time. And then you mentioned fail, and
yeah,
I got this download, and we're probably going to journal about it. But is it really a fail, or was it perfected as it was supposed to, so you can embrace even more the love?
yeah,
What if the failure
exactly.
of what we thought was a fail was
Yeah,
actually already in within the love? Like love is everything, is
yeah,
embodying everything, right? So when we say we fail or we have disaligned or we separated, there's a self-judgment automatically. And it just came upon me like it's
totally,
right.
totally.
And thus, to say to ourselves, we have experienced this, which is without judgment and neutral, whatever zone. In this case, we're going to say, let's say, separated, we experienced impatience, we lost ourselves, whatever, we went into our ego mode.
Yes,
We experienced this, so it allows us to bring a contrast and thus come to the core of love for us, which is neutrality, which is the present moment for us, like we
yeah,
discussed in the previous
yeah,
episode. And thus, I want us to remember, guys, that to be loved, to express love, and to show love to people and ourselves, there's no one fits all, and there's no labeling and what should. The reason why it comes out often the patience, acceptance, loving, grace, whatever, it's just that there is a common tangent that people, when you ask them, whatever their age and whatever their background, that's what come out. It's like there's intricate programming of what we label love as, right? And it just connects. But depending of where you're at, depending of the situation, and I'm certain Miruna is going to bring very interesting point, and depending where you're at with another person, when you are in relation with another person or in conversation or with yourself in your season, love will show up in different ways.
yeah,
It
yeah,
will.
yeah.
And I will.
I love it. Such a great point. Absolutely, absolutely. It was important for me to mention fail, to name how we feel and perceive in the
Yeah.
process, and then where we realize that love is all there is, then
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, it wasn't even a fail. It's actually perfect, right? But it's important not to name it. For me, it was important to name it because this is how
Yes.
I feel
I
it.
do
And I
it
know
all the
many
time,
people feel it
Miruna.
like, and we can even cry and like punish ourselves. Oh, we could have been more patient. No, you couldn't have been because you were what you could in the moment, but now it's a different moment. So learning, this is how actually I learned unconditional love. I learned and I'm learning. It's not like I learned and it's over. No, I just want to. This is how I've learned and I'm learning unconditional love. How else would you know it's conditional if you wouldn't have huge contrast to hit yourself on, so that you're like, oh my God, can I love this? It's like every single time, right? That there's something, let's say, horrible or just very contrasting or shocking about yourself or others, you're gonna have the choice. Am I gonna fear it and stay separate from it? Or can I actually lean into love and feel love for it? Can I accept that this too is a part? Can I accept that this too is, can I take it as my own? But yeah, but it's horrible. It shouldn't be, but it is. Like this should also, I banned it from I'm like, no, is it? It exists, right? Actually, it's a perception. It's a perception, it's an illusion. The Course of Miracles speaks that it's an illusion, that only love exists actually in actuality, in ultimate truth, and all the rest is just perception of separation. Hence we fear. So we're like temporarily like this is not me, I don't like it, I don't want it. But the perception you have is skewed. That's why you're seeing it. It's not changing the reality outer, but it's more like shifting your eyes. It's like, oh, I must have a veil on my eyes that is not allowing me to see truth as it is, right? And so my eyes are not loving eyes. Even on something that can be a failure, it was not, because
Yeah.
actually it deepens my capacity to love. So
Mm.
how else could I love myself truly if I'm not becoming angry and observe how it can be
Mhm.
destructive if I act it out? How else can I prove to myself that I indeed am learning and practicing unconditional love?
Oh.
So I would need to fail. Actually, this is what the first part of my life I was running away from the whole like, I don't want to fail, I want it to be perfect, I don't want to fail, I want to
Oh
be
my
loved,
gosh.
unconditional love. And I got so slow. I'm like, no, but I just want to love. Like, this is the process of learning how to love. Up until the question, I was like really like a child. But I want unconditional love. And the question was, do you know what unconditional love is? Like, do you know? Can you experiment it? I said, well, no, nobody taught me. And then he said, so why don't you ask to learn? I said, oh, it's true. If I don't know, you should ask to learn. I was such a child. And I said, well, I want to learn. Good. You're not gonna learn the way you think.
Nope.
That I won't? No. You're gonna see all kinds of contrasts in yourself and all. And then every time you're gonna get to choose and love yourself in the process. I mean, my mouth fell on the floor. And this is how
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Oh,
And also to continue to say, I'm learning, to give myself grace. I don't know, I'm learning.
that's
I'm
humility.
not perfect, I'm practicing. So these standards, all the perfectionist standards,
Yeah. Yeah.
I drop them like all, just all on the floor. I don't
There's
pick
no
them up
goal.
anymore.
There's no end
Learning
goals,
and
guys.
practicing. Yes,
It's just
I'm included in the process. So like that, and it's so humbling. I needed humbling in this lifetime. I needed a huge dose of humbling. And this is how I'm learning how to love deeper every single moment. Yeah.
oh, I got so many shivers, girl. Oh, this is so beautiful. I am so 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 ecstatic of all of this, and it's like if this journey, the continuous journey of learning in the process, is the end goal is within. So it's ever
Yes.
flowing, ever moving around us. It's constantly in the flow, right?
Yes.
We keep saying the
Yes.
circle of life, but that's what it is. It's a flow. Comes back, comes
Yes.
back. It moves in circle. It moves
Yeah.
in different directions. So letting go of achieving a end goal for me was such a liberating thing, because like
Amen.
not, that's it. I kept not giving myself grace. I was the worst self-judge towards myself. I was so hard on myself from such a young age. And this is love. How can we expect ourselves to give love, divine, true, and unconditional love to others if we're not even doing it to ourselves first? Right?
Exactly.
Right? And
Exactly.
I want to touch base with misconceptions because we still have time. My gosh, time is
Good.
vision. Look
Good.
at us.
Good. 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 Let's.
The misconceptions, right? The labeling, I feel like the ego has a tendency to label and separates concept and just like, yeah, this is it or it or. And I
Yes.
remember us talking a lot. It doesn't have to be this or that. It cannot. It doesn't have to be
Yes.
extreme, right? And when I
Yeah.
see many posts of people saying, yeah, love yourself before loving others, right? Fuck others and love yourself first. Prioritize yourself first, right? So that's a misconception first that we're
Mhm.
gonna touch base with. And another one is, oh, you must be agreeable and doesn't bring up conflicts or don't have to bring up, difficulties or disagreements with another person because love is just patient and loving, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and then you should just never, bring up conflicts or disruptions, right? So that's another misconception. And the third one that I've experienced personally in romantic relationship is, well, I love you unconditionally, so I accept all of your defaults, all of your weaknesses, and I
Yeah.
still love you for them. Macy, why can't you do the same in return? Right? Because
Yeah.
loving unconditionally is accepting all your imperfections and be
Yes.
good with them, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
those
Yeah.
misconceptions have been coming up a lot in
Mhm.
me observing the human kindness and in ourselves also, I want to say. Um, and yeah, I feel like I want to say something, but I want to let you talk about it first, and then I'll bounce on it.
You're sure you don't want to say it now?
No, no, I want to try to hone it and calm down because I could like say many things and
Okay.
everything.
Okay. But you're gonna remember to bring it. I
Yes,
I love that you're bringing this so much. I love that you're bringing this.
misconceptions
It's
of
bringing us
love.
on the cross, right? On the so let's say exactly what you've noted, what you've noticed, and what is popular to be said. It's like, so either you forget yourself completely and love others, so then you're separate, or you focus on yourself and you love on yourself and others are whatever, we don't care. So already there's separation. So if the separation is not togetherness, right? So love the other as you love thyself. I mean, I'm a disciple of Christ, and so obviously for me this is like my base. And then the people that are requesting us to love them unconditionally, which is accepting everything in them, which is beautiful, but they don't really accept our choice to be different, or that we are different, or that we want something deeper. And us wanting something deeper or going in another direction is, we should just stay there and be with them. You know, let's talk about what is included in unconditional love. Freedom, freedom of all. Truth. Okay, you said let's not disrupt, we shouldn't be disruptive, we shouldn't say. So if I need to wear a mask and not be truthful, if I need to be gentil, right? Like, I'm not talking about kind, I'm talking about nice. That's a mask. It's not kind, I'm kind, but I don't need to be nice. So people that want me to wear the nice, just like, like, be nice, shut up. It's just a very nice way to tell me to shut up and not speak the truth of what I'm seeing, and not allowing me to be free and disrupt what needs to be disrupted, which probably is everybody's masks need to fly off right now. If you want to be authentic in an interaction with me, you don't have to. I'm not imposing, but I live in truth, or I want to live in truth. So I don't want to put masks on. So unconditional love without truth and freedom is not unconditional love.
Mm.
In my humble perspective, I do not detain the truth. I'm not like, this is what is in my heart to tell me.
I love
What
this
do you
so
feel
much.
about it? What did you want to say?
No, I really love it because I know it can be a very complex concept to grasp and embody because Macy, Miruna, how do we embrace and embody love within, and then it becomes expanded, right? From a one perspective of us living the life. And now how does that translate in interactions with different types of personalities, ego
Yeah.
perspectives, right? And now, and that's where I find that that's the biggest challenge for most people, right? Because what do we live the most of is with interactions. We
Yes.
constantly faced with different types of interaction with different type of humans
Yes.
in different
Yes.
fields of our life, right? Work, home, family, friendships, outgoing, a simple thing as just asking something in the street. So we are constantly faced with
Mm.
interacting with humans, and thus there's a inspiration of mine to want to touch base with the mystery of interaction and how to actually hone better our communication and actually navigate how to show up with truth and authenticity and
Mhm.
freedom while still honoring them. And
Yeah.
it's quite an art, guys. It's quite
Oh, oh
intense,
God,
and we're
yeah.
aware of that, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
still learning, but it's just
Yeah,
so
we're learning.
fascinating me, right? Because I understand where people come from. Well, Macy, it's so hard. How can we get there? So I love the fact that you mentioned to embody and offer this love. It is not I give myself love first and then your love. It's all of us together.
Yes.
When truth and freedom and authenticity comes from, and when you are feeling honed and in alignment to what needs to be spoken about or shared about, always with it, of course, there's a way to say it that comes back to our communication skills
Yes. Yes.
whatsoever, right? But when you feel like it's the right thing to say or to do for not just you or them, for all of us, right? So I like when you said in the previous episode, the unity of all, right?
Mm.
I'm not wishing you to heal or us to heal. We're all in this together, we're all healing. So it will create disruptions. Why? Because we live in a different level of awareness
Yes.
that is based on fear, that is based on labeling, that is based on this or that, that is based on fixed mindsets. So it will for sure, the truth and love and intensity will disrupt inevitably. I'm
Yes.
not saying we should seek that every time I come out there and I'm like, what can I disrupt even more, right? But
No, it's natural.
I feel that the more and more you hone your intuition, combined with embodying the practice of love, because we're not perfect, we're still practicing it,
Yes.
it will become more clearer and more in discernment of what you shall do or not do at that
Yes.
specific interaction. And we
Yes.
must understand that love is about freeing each other. So we free ourselves, obviously, but again, the unity, when you speak up and it is disruptive at that moment, how should I say? Time is an illusion. So even though at that moment there's resistance and disruption, because you had the discernment and the intuition to do so, it will free them. Not necessarily now, but it will free them at the right moment for them
Yeah.
because you brought a certain
Yeah.
awareness. So when people fall into their toxic patterns, their stressing pattern, the anxiety patterns, the resistance because they have a fixed mindset about a belief or something. And I'm talking for myself too in return, right? Because sometimes we fall into like
We're in. Yeah. I'm not.
filled, we
I,
fall
I
into
don't
like
exclude myself from anything. Yeah.
judge. And yeah, I know I do it for
Me.
myself. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
We explore the, I explore myself because we're so much into the judgment or analyzing or observing
Yeah.
or all that, but
Yeah.
that people can do the same in return with us, no matter where they are in
Yes.
their life, right? So I want to say there's discernment and intuition that comes into play when you are dealing with interactions with other humans and you want to
Mm.
practice love, right? Love is not about petiteness, smallness, and limitations. Love is limitless. Love is
Yes.
healing. Love is expanding. Love is freeing. And
It is.
thus, when it creates those ripple effects, you can reassure yourself that you are on the right track, per se, to express it. And it will come with sometimes confrontation because the other person, once again, I want to repeat myself, is not necessarily in a positioning to understand at that moment that you're coming
Yes.
out of love,
Yes. I
that your
love that you
energy should
say
come.
so. Say that totally resonates. I would add a quality of unconditional love, respect of another's free will and timing. That is
Yeah.
also, I think, with humbleness and to respect another. Those were my up until now. I don't know. Life is always teaching me huge lesson how to respect another's will. Even his will is to, I continue to wear a mask, don't disturb my mask.
Mm-hmm.
I know I don't want to take it off. I don't even want to acknowledge I have a mask. Okay. Those were the conversations. And me acknowledging and respecting that. And be like,
Tough one for
I
me.
respect you. I hear you and see you. Just like I was wearing masks or whatever I was doing in my ego how many years ago, I respect that you are in that season and want to carry on this experiment. Important for you to do this. Just
Yeah.
like for me it was as well. Why was it? I don't know, I was afraid. No, first of all, I didn't even know that I was wearing masks for a great part, and then I was too afraid to, like, what if they think I'm not nice? And then I'm like, oh, but I'm kind. I'm not even nice, because I'm a truth speaker. So truth speakers are not nice. They can be kind, but they're not nice. So I'm like, well, you have to make a choice. You want to be authentic or do you want to be liked? Because that's not the same for me, right? So respect was a huge lesson. I have a particular attention to it because I lacked respect of the boundaries of others too many times in this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And the hearing of their free will, because freedom is love is freedom, that they do not want to go further, deeper, to the left, to the right, whatever I wanted and was excited that I wanted. And that I must learn to accept it and really respect it and don't push on it. That was for me a great lesson, that this is to love. And I missed it many times, but it's perfect in the just like I said, because I missed it many times, now I got it. I can tell you now, at least, I really get it now. I'm really good at paying attention to that important element that I was not comprehending growing up, because I thought it was just like, we have to liberate, let's go.
Yeah, it's like everybody
Yeah,
gonna
but like,
love it. They're gonna love what we have to say and
yeah,
what we
you're like
discovered, and
all
they're
over
all
my
gonna jump to
boundaries.
it.
That's right. Your boundaries all over the place. You're in my boundary. Like, you're not respecting. So yeah, we're not gonna want to go nowhere to liberate nothing. So I was getting pushback and pushback. I'm like, oh, why do you push back? Because they're pushing back on that. These are my boundaries. Back off. This too is love.
And I want to conclude because time has now flown already. I love this. And it's very delicate. I said before, a dance is an art, because this respect perspective, I love it so much because, again, it can be translated in different ways, once again, in different ways of how do I respect myself. And somebody would perceive that as a form of disrespect, right? Or other people were just going to shut down and let you be. For me, it's a
Yeah.
sign of disrespect in my perspective because of what I've grown into. So I love the play of the respect concepts. I would love to play around this concept in future episodes whenever it comes up.
Big one. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because that's where unconditional shows up. And I like often when I forget myself into this field of human life, I'm like, what would Jesus do, right? Back in his story life, or how God actually expresses love to us through the scriptures. Sometimes I read in these examples where we fuck up, we separate, whatever you want to call it. We think we go into a kind of a path where we think that's it, and then we get eaten away from um, the lack of humility, lack of love, or whatever, and
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of bunch of things happening. And then you said you respect the others to its process. That's what God it allows us. It's like if God allows us to be, He knows we're screwing it up. Still has us because there's a freedom of will, right? However, the respect when I want to put forth here is that he still is tending hands lovingly,
Yes.
not pushing on us, but
Yeah.
offering
Not
us
pushing on us.
opportunities,
Yeah.
meetups, a little nudge, a
Yes.
little hey here and there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't know, but I feel like for me, respect has become not just like, oh, I let you be, and then I'm not saying nothing again until you come back to me, but more like nudges. I feel like for me, and maybe that's my conception, and maybe there's something behind it, but let us love where they're at be because they're exactly where they're supposed to be, and we're all together in this anyway. So we were at their place, and they were maybe gonna be more in our place at some point. We're all gonna
Yeah.
dance within,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then accept what is. So not be bothered. So I think the respect it comes from a within experience of us not be bothered and actually feel neutral and loving. We feel neutral that that's where they are. It's okay. And then in return, we give them love and prayers. We give them love and prayers, right? So I think respect goes back to this sense of innate feeling. And then on top of it, it's not stopping altogether interaction with them and never bring back up possibilities that can, in our intuition, help them. We give them nudge. And then we listen to them. And then, hey, by the way, I'm going to this event or I'm going to this thing. Just inviting you if ever you want to come. This is us offering a loving hand.
An
I don't know.
invitation.
It just came up to me. I want to challenge that here, but
I love it, and I think it's worth its own episode. It's really such a huge, and it's huge in
because it's
relationships.
a very
Huge.
clashing concept,
Yeah.
respect. I
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
cannot
I
wait
think it's
to.
worth its own episode. Yeah. 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 So excited we've touched upon all these, and I can't wait to also read people's comments and interactions and hear their perspectives. Such an important conversation to have in our community.
So much, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. We shall see what come up for the next episode, but it looks good. It's going to be probably around this respect thing, but we really hope that you enjoyed yourselves and that it possibly can inspire you in the right timing in the same way. And then, yes, like Miruna said, please forward us your questions, your comments, reach out to us and connect with us on Instagram
Yeah.
as well. It would be
Yeah.
a pleasure.
Yes. Blessings to all. Thank you, my dearest Macy. I cannot wait for our next conversation. Blessings.